But what happened was that, okay, I ended up spending, this money, and I remember really actually kind of looking at my bank account one day and realizing I only had about $10,000 left in the account, and I knew I could get through that very quickly, in fact. And so I had a real good think about things, and I thought, well, if I stay in the United States, I'm going to spend this money, the last of the money I had, actually quite quickly. And so it dawned on me that if somehow I made it over to Europe, I could sort of spin this money out maybe for about another 2 or 3 years before I actually had to go to work and support myself. So that's pretty much what I did. I actually just went to the travel agents. First of all, I bought myself a real good sleeping bag and a real good backpack and all that, and went to the travel agency, and I got a one-way ticket for Munich. And I ended up flying into Munich in Germany. Of course, you have to consider what my background was at the time. I was from the United States. I'd never really been out of the country, and I'd been brainwashed by everything I'd seen in Hollywood. And so when I got off the airplane in Munich, I just naturally assumed everybody spoke English. And suddenly it dawned on me, these people were talking to me in German. Well, why were they talking in German? Just because it was Germany. That one sort of threw me back a bit, but it probably does exemplify how naive I was at the time with, doing things. But from Munich, I decided that, in fact, I would travel around Germany a bit and then head down towards Austria, Italy, around Genoa, and then ended up staying in just above Marseille in France for 2 or 3 months with a friend who was down there. Actually had come over earlier than I had. Had a very good time. And then from there went on and kind of went north for no other reason than, it was just something to do, and ended up in England. And then got into England, and I arrived at night. I got the ferry over from France, and I arrived, I think it was in Southampton, and I ended up driving through the night. I ended up driving through London, and by this time I was actually starting to get kind of tired, and I got through London, and I must have gotten up onto the north coast of England somewhere, and I was looking for a hotel at the time, and I kept going past all these hotels, and all the hotels had little signs in the front that said residents only. And I thought, gee, I'm not a resident here. How can I can't stay in these hotels. It just didn't dawn on me what they kind of meant by residents only. Ultimately, I did find a motel to stay in, which, again, I think it was out by Grimsby. By this point, I'd gotten that far north, and stayed in the hotel, and oddly enough, it was at that point that suddenly I had this kind of revelation that I wanted to go in to study something in medical sciences. And, I wasn't sure exactly the course. I thought, certainly neuroscience was very interesting. Although I didn't have a lot of background in it, there was just something that hit me, that that's what I want to do. So there I am, kind of out of high school, out with no qualifications other than a high school diploma, running out of money rapidly, and wondering, just kind of how I'm going to do this.